Hey yo, what is up? It's been a minute since I've posted anything, and quite frankly, I've been feeling a little bit uninspired since the release of 1.20. Now, this is a warning. If you're not up to a rant, you should stop watching right now. Now, my policy on this channel is to stay away from negative commentary. I only want to make videos on things I like about the game. I try to avoid bashing wargaming because there's plenty of negative videos out there. But even with that attitude, it's hard to avoid some of the topics because they just keep cropping up more and more often. Now, that being said, to me, the only thing I can look forward to in 1.20 update is the Oyster Bay map. And that's the only thing that's mildly interesting. Everything else is just a feeble attempt to lure players to invest more time into gameplay. And to be quite honest, I don't think I'm alone in feeling this. Player participation has been falling. I don't know what it's like on your server, but if you pick a point of reference, say at peak hour 9:30 PM, you can track for yourself if your server is increasing or decreasing in player participation. Sure, there was a bunch of rebalancing of tanks. The Centurion Action X is now a beast. The Panzer Kampfwagen is more competitive now. But I feel the improvements have come too little, too late. Now, for context, the Centurion Action X is the tank line that I chose when I made my second account to grind for the T95 E2 recruit a friend reward tank. The Centurion Action X was a good tank to begin with, good enough that I would pick it to grind for my burner account. Now that it's buffed, it's a beast. But the problem is the tank has expired in terms of its desirability. Although it's much stronger tank now, but how many people actually want to revisit the tank to grind or to grind out this, fresh? The same with the Panzer Kampfwagen. This is actually my second favorite light tank in tier 10 after the T100 LT. I know a lot of people say it's a bad or weak tank, but I thought it was pretty decent light tank even before the buff. I enjoyed it, this tank, even without the buff. But what is the point of the PZW? The reality is the light tank meta is being completely dominated by the EBR since its introduction. If you go to Wargaming's own wiki website, it is noted the overall source of tanks becoming more obsolete, quote unquote. Overall, the source of light tanks being most obsolete. This is quoted directly from the wiki, Wargaming's wiki website. Even after being nerfed twice, it is still the go-to light tank if you want the best light tank gameplay. There's also the Progetto nerf that most rational people does not make any sense for most rational people. I mean, the topic has been extensively covered, so I'll just leave this to you to search it out if you want to take a deeper dive. Now, overall, my opinion on tank balance is as such. It's great that they're taking some action, but it's taken forever, and in my opinion, players in 2023 have very short attention spans. In my opinion, players' first impressions of new tanks are going to have lasting impressions. What I mean is, all the buffs and nerfs that come after that will make little to no difference in changing people's minds. Think about it. All the most popular content is getting shorter and shorter. People's attention spans are just really quick. What is popular now is TikTok, Facebook Reels, YouTube Shorts. Everyone wants to watch the highlight reels, form an opinion instantly, and then move on to the next thing. This is what I feel Wargaming are missing. They are taking your time for granted. They're too slow to respond to mistakes that they've made. And by the time they've responded or take action, their players have already moved on to the next shiny subject. You kind of expect this from a behemoth of a company like Wargaming. There are, they have layers and layers of management personnel with varying degrees of parameters they operate on, requiring many stages of approval before they can execute any physical changes to the game. This is the same, I feel, with map balance and the changes to old maps. For most people, their reaction is great, but so what? Can these improvements be measured? Do these changes translate to more players playing the game? Do they mean that players want to play more? I've expressed this opinion before. I think there's more value in new maps than there is in reworked old maps that have been changed, for the umpteenth time. I think you're never gonna get any map to be perfect. So why do you keep pouring so many resources into reworking old maps over and over again? Now there's a famous quote by Einstein, and he says, "The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results." And that's what I think about what's going on. Now here we're looking today at the Panzerkampfwagen on the new map, Oyster map. And this is actually a pretty good map. It is a larger map. There's not 2 corridors, but there's more than 2 corridors. There's possibly 3-4 corridors that you can play on. There is the open side on the northwest side of the map, which in my opinion, in the games that I've been looking at anyway, it looks like the pushing side is going to be on the northwest side, the left side of the map, you could say, if you look at the mini map. I think the most flexible side is going to be this side, because I see most people are Zerg rushing everything on the left side of the map or the west side of the map, and it turns out in the games that I have witnessed anyway, I feel like it is the south team that is going to be winning the open spaces, just because the light tanks can advance a little bit further. If you looked earlier in this gameplay, where the light tank could advance, it is a little bit further out than the light tank on the northern spawn could advance. So I feel like the advantage is on the southern side of the team. If they all concentrated their spotting and pushing on the west side of the map, I feel like the west side of the map is more advantageous for both teams. But generally speaking, I feel like the southern spawn has a better foothold on the game if they are pushing forward with their light tanks from the west side. On the east side, of course, it's just corridors. If you go down the beach, there's more open areas there, but basically you're locked down for longer periods of time if you are playing on the east side of the map. And I feel like the most popular side is the west side of the map, because even if you're a heavy tank, you can push cover to cover, hard cover, I mean not just soft cover. You can push from cover to cover while maybe you need to bounce a couple of shots, avoiding enemy artillery or some tank destroyers at the back. But it looks like the west side is more flexible, more mobility. You can even with heavy tanks, you can push forward instead of being locked down on the east side with the corridor rocks there, basically just side scraping on the east side, while on the west side you kind of push forward. And there it is, wrapping it up, 5,000 plus damage on the Panzerkampfwagen. with a no camo. What an incredible game. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video and didn't take too much, or maybe you took a lot out of this game and my opinions on update 1.20. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video. Bye bye.